Hey guys, and welcome to Never Summer once again. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. It's Wednesday night. Wednesday late afternoon, and I'm bringing you another movie. And today, as you can maybe think, what is it? It's all silver. And there is my servo. There's my linkage. There's my wheel. The inlet stuck. And what is it? It's the Habu32 from E-Flight. And it's the almost full composite, because it's not quite composite because the wings are actually balsa made. This is the Habu32, 95% completed, building time so far about 20 hours. Mostly due to the different choice of servos that I made. So my choice was not bad, but a bit overkill, actually quite a bit overkill, especially for the rudder installation, because I chose the the high-tech HS5245 MG digital servo with the high voltage, or like the high output twisted servo cable. Now the rudder installation was actually a bit tricky, because first of all you have 4 blocks, okay, which are actually holding the servo in place. So you have 2 blocks on the left, 2 blocks on the right, one on actually 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. So you can see that I actually holding the servo in place without having it moving around. So, but since the servo is a bit wider in size, and it's a bit higher as well, and it is heavier, but it does have quite a bit of more torque than the recommended JR, I think 368 servo. So I chose this. I can't say it was the wrong choice, but it would have made my life a bit easier if I would have gone at least for the rudder with the recommended servo, which is the JR 368. Never mind, I got it done. I had to sand actually both left blocks quite a bit for it to get it fit. Now you can see here the masking tape I put around the servo. That is meant for actually having the servo glued on the mounting plate, I would say, which is also glued onto the fuselage. And I put a bit of a 30 minutes epoxy on the backside where the servo actually slides in. And while I did this, because I used 30-minute epoxy, I had actually enough time on the left side to put in the left top and the left bottom servo block back in. And it's a nice fit. It's also a bit lower, the servo horn, but it doesn't really matter. I can actually put the cover on, it closes nicely, and you do have a bit more weight than in the back, which could be actually not really any a bad thing, because if you might have a bit heavier battery by a few grams, it might even it out. I don't know. Other than that, yeah, my setup is a bit of overkill when it comes to the servos, but you know, who cares? I mean, if you want to have something which, if you buy a jet which stands out for quality, why not buy quality equipment? And I'm not actually a fan of those nylon servos, and actually nobody actually really recommended me those servos in case I want to go with a more high-powered setup. So I'm looking already in the future. So I'm not already looking, saying, okay, I'm just going to fly this thing for the next 10 years with the same setup, because I want to go faster and wide open throttle. Okay, so another issue is which extended the build. 2 holes on each side for the servo to be mounted on. Unfortunately, those servos that I chose, you only get 1 screw on each side, so actually you have to drill a hole in the middle of those 2 holes, and you know, put some CA in it to harden the wood to make it strong when you actually screw the screw in, and to get a really nice hold without it splitting, which is really important. So don't forget that of doing. Basically, it was actually quite straightforward, and you can see here There is the fan hatch, the maintenance hatch, I would say, for the EDF unit. The EDF unit is not in there. I don't have it. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's on the way. Maybe still Stu has it and is playing around with it and having a good time while I'm waiting. And actually, I'm quite desperate to get this fan installed anytime, very, very soon, even though I don't have any batteries for it to fly. Well, however, the fan installation, you can see here already that this cable from the servo, from the rotor servo, it's those high output twisted servo extensions. Here, basically the plane is, like I said, it's 90% finished. The only thing, I already pre-fitted everything, pre-installed everything, so the servos have, you know, the mounts on, the servo horns installed. They have those are centered, and they have the correct holes, like the distance between the servo screw and the actual hole is just as it is or should be mentioned in the manual from E-flite. Yet again, had to drill holes in the middle for the servos to fit, and yeah, well, pretty much everything is done as well. Here, the nose steering wheel, you can see it's installed with those 4 screws, those hex screws there, and again the HS85MG, and the linkage is done. Here as well, goes all the way to the front. It does retract. You might need to cut out or maybe sand here a bit because the wheel does touch this part. I don't know, I mean, this is the recommended installation of the nose retract, so, and here it does touch a bit here on the side as well, so you got to be careful because you don't want to have this stalled during flight, and you don't want to even have all 3 of those retracts stalled, because otherwise it's gonna draw about 900 milliamps from your battery, and in case you don't have as much juice in your battery left, or if you're just on your final approach and you lose power and you wonder why, maybe that's why. So check it, make sure this does fit and it does not rub against or come against anything around inside of this fuselage or nose bay. Well, this is it. Like I said, everything is here is installed. What I also thought is those plastic hubs that you actually put inside this aluminium hub, they made the wheel turning a lot. It's really stiff. It has a bit of resistance. You got to push it a bit. So I don't know if I should put a bit of oil in it or maybe use something similar or anything. But it was the recommended way of installation from the E-flite. So I don't really know. I haven't seen anything that they mention anything about the wheels having a bit of a resistance. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe those are integrated brakes. I don't know. But however, this is actually pretty much it about the fuselage, and let's just move on because the movie is already quite lengthy, and I don't want you guys to fall asleep. Here is the horizontal stabilizers. Everything here is installed. It does fit right inside the fuselage. You can actually secure it with those 2 screws. Those are a nice tight fit. Everything works like it is advertised and written down in the manual. Here's the main wing. The linkage for the flaps will come as soon as I figured out a way how to program it correctly, because as you might can see here, the aileron servo right there actually is a nice centered. It's a nicely centered, but on this one here you can see those HS81 from Hightech does have the servo arm location not really in the middle, which is kind of a drawback for me, and clearly I made the wrong choice here on the servos, which I can just blame myself and punch myself a few times, but those were cheap, so you know, doesn't really matter. The wheel installation is actually complete. The struts were not really not completely straight, so make sure those are straight because you don't want them during flights to come in. I think those are a bit too flexible, and I think you gotta, you know, put them back in, put them back in the right position I think a few flights, especially if you might have a hard landing or something, which is not good, because if this doesn't come down or go out during flight, you will have a problem and you need to call Houston. Here I'm using actually twisted cables as well, high powered leads. Those are actually extensions. As you can see, the CF mount here is also installed, glued in. It does also, everything does fit. Now, those are actually meant for the aileron only, but I have them also on the flaps, which I'm gonna change. So they're gonna have the same ones like on the retracts, because those are not really needed. But for the rudder, which does have the high-powered lead extensions, and for the ailerons and the elevators, I'm gonna use those cables. They are a bit heavier, they are a bit bigger, but it will be well worth it, because if you already spend so much money and you have an overkill setup with a nice quality fan, ESC and all that sort of stuff, you want it to go hardcore. And well, if you guys wonder why I actually made not the choice, the recommended choice, is because I want to go in the future fast. I don't know if I said this already in this video, but I don't want to fly for the next 10 years with the same setup and need to change all the servos because they may strip, okay? So this is actually my main reason. Always look in the future. What can you do in the future with the jet that you love so much? And that means actually a lot to you. Maybe more than your wife, more than your girlfriend, which I don't think is really hard to achieve if you're really passionate about this hobby. So just get on with it, guys. This is it for now. The Habu32 EDF unit, which is 90% finished. And I'm just waiting for the batteries. Actually, I haven't even ordered the batteries, but I'm waiting for the batteries. I'm waiting for the fan. The installation will be done as soon as possible. And I hope by the end of October, this will be airborne. Okay, guys, check it out on RC Groups. Give me some comments if you like it, what's wrong with it, whatever. And speak to you soon, guys. Till then, never summer out.